Very well. So why have I not addressed what is generally called the ethnic problem or the ethnic issue? That is because, although it is an issue, I don't think that it is best described as an ethnic issue. It's a much larger, much wider, and much more and much deeper issue which has far-reaching consequences. If you remember, I mentioned a rejection of global values and global norms. Now, what this led to was a failure to understand the complexity of democracy. And this led to what is now being called majoritarianism. And this majoritarianism, in turn, led to a preoccupation with the rights of majorities rather than the rights of minorities. The problem with that position is that there is no such thing as a majority. All of us are minorities. Ultimately, each one of us comes down to a minority of one. So to talk about majorities and to concern ourselves with defending and preserving the rights of majorities is not going to get us very far. What we should be concerned with is protecting the rights of minorities. Minorities like you and minorities like me and minorities like all of them around us. It is only by protecting the rights of these minorities that you and your rights and I and my rights will also be protected. This was a fundamental mistake that was made. It is not something that cannot be understood, but that does not change the fact that it was a very serious mistake and it has had very serious consequences. And like all other mistakes, it is a mistake that has to be responded to and remedied. And that has not as yet been done, and it remains to be seen whether it will be done. So what happened when the rights of minorities were ignored and a preoccupation with the rights of majorities began to become the dominant trend? It's fairly simple. The minorities were alienated and marginalized. And alienation and marginalization cause problems. It is not that bad people cause problems, but alienation and marginalization, when they are allowed to happen, cause problems. And problems were caused. These are the problems that were caused were also not unusual problems. They were the kind of problems that you find wherever alienation and marginalization happens to minorities. What were these problems? There were pogroms, organized attacks against minorities. Then there were attempts to secede. Then there was civil strife. Then there was genocide. Then there was suppression of dissent. Because people don't like to see these things happening. And they tend to protest and disagree with what is going on. So there was a suppression of this dissent. And when suppression began, there was murder, there was torture, there were disappearances, there was rape, and there was a reign of terror. And impunity became the norm. In this kind of a climate, what soon began to emerge and become the dominant trends were corruption, sedition, treason. There was alien penetration of the state. And there even was something that looks like an attempt to generate weapons of mass destruction on this peaceful island. All this happened because of this apparently small mistake, the failure to realize that there are no majorities, that the very concept of a majority is flawed, because we are all minorities in one way or another, and that therefore the rights of minorities have to be made the foundation of any attempt at building a sustainable civilization. I think you will have no difficulty in agreeing that not only did this happen, it was allowed to happen. If it was not allowed to happen, it could not have happened. And this means that care should be taken to ensure that this cannot happen in the future. Ensuring that this cannot happen in the future entails some re-engineering of the state and some reformulation of processes of governance and other social processes. That is hard work. And not only is it hard work, but it is work that demands thoughtfulness, deep reflection, complex perceptions, all of which are characteristics of intelligence. So we have a problem here with our average national IQ of 79. And the task ahead is going to be difficult. And because the task ahead is going to be difficult, it is very important that everyone and anyone who has the faintest notion of what must be done and how what must be done can be done comes forward and articulates their thinking and shares their ideas, so that all these ideas can come together and some kind of an effective response can be found.